Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is more of a longer segment of basically my own show here on 5 Minutes or Less Review. I'm your host, and I came across this video this afternoon, and I decided to speak on it because Oshay brought up a lot of good points, and I have my paper right here next to me. He's been speaking on the issue of black men failing to earn the respect of the black women in the community. And he also brought out some evidence associated with that statement. And I can say one thing about Oshay is that he's been really preaching about uplifting the black community. Basically, the idea is for us to do better for ourselves and to get better at what we do. Personally, I believe that one of the biggest issues for black people's problems in this country is lack of ownership of properties, items that people want to invest in. By owning properties that people want or people use constantly, the black population can actually have some power rather than always voting Democratic when come election time. So I'm not going to play any of the audio in this show, but as you can see, the lady who's on the screen right now, she's something lawyer, some black the lawyer, something like that, and she basically was given 2 points, and the 2 points she said was that black men are failing because of number one, lack of investment, and number two, lack of no unity. And I think Oshay also followed up with that concerning those issues. So the 3 points he's making is that, according to Oshay, the 3 points that black men need in order to have some respect from black women is that we need to have respect for each other, right? The second part is being united, having a united front, trying to achieve something in a united manner. And the third part is that black men have no marketable value, something that women can actually look at and simply say, hey, you're going somewhere, I want to be a part of your mix and I'm going to give you respect. Now, let me make something very, very clear about respect. In my personal opinion, the idea of giving somebody else respect is more of a cultural thing. No amount of thing that you actually do to achieve something will gain you respect. Do you understand what I'm saying? Only if respect is within that culture. For instance, in the Japanese culture, there's respect. You know? Even right now, I personally believe that there's no respect in Chinese culture because many of the times whenever I come in contact with Chinese people, they are very rude and crass. I don't believe there's a lot of respect in African American culture. To many of the time, whenever you meet the black women, they have no respect for you as a man. And also with the young black men also, they have no respect. You know? You go to other neighborhoods, be it maybe the Italians or whatever it is, still sometimes you see no respect. And in certain places they'll give you respect depending on what you're providing, right? You know, Caucasian neighborhood, many of the white women many of the time don't have respect, but the white guys will give you respect, you know. So the thing, for me personally, it comes from the culture. What's really going on? How are their homes being built? Who are the people in charge of their homes? And if you can look at the black community, you can actually see that a lot of the times the idea of respect is not being taught in the home. You know, when you have no man in the home, you cannot expect women to have respect for you because they've not seen that example. They don't know how to give it. Now, there were a couple of things that Oshay brought up, and I think he has a very good point. Number one, that black men have no respect for each other. I see this constantly every single day. You know, I give other men respect when I deal with them. Many of the times I give, you know, them nickname like, okay, champ, chief, what's up, big guy, you know, stuff like that. You know, you basically give them respect, you know, make sure that at least they're fueled with, you know what, there's respect coming your way. But one thing I typically notice about a lot of people, especially in the black community, when you give men respect, is that they try to belittle you after a while. And then you have to sit down there and then draw a borderline with them, simply saying, yo, hey, you're messing with the wrong guy. I'm not going to tolerate that kind of nonsense from you. Right? So, personally, I'm tired of doing that. Right? Because I've seen many of the times, whenever you do that for any of them, sooner or later they start being disrespectful. And that goes on to even some other white people, white guys that may start showing you disrespect because, hey, you're giving them respect. And then you have to tone it down and put them in their place real quick and set, a zone that, hey, I will not tolerate your rubbish. So, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that respect for each other goes a long way. I think when men start having respect for each other, we can actually become united. Okay? When people have respect for what this other person can bring to the picture, what they do, and so on and so forth, we can find ways to coexist and, come together in order to build bigger things. Unity often leads to the building of better infrastructure, better companies, and so on and so forth. We can build better utilities that people can depend on, and also that can benefit the black community. I think Oshay did a wonderful job by talking about how having an investment in the community could mean you are controlling this area of that community, and as a result of that, you can determine maybe the economic nature of that area and maybe uplift the people that are living there, right? He also spoke about maybe even hiring more black people, giving them more jobs, putting them in a better financial situation to be able to go to the next stage, which is investment and owning properties and so on and so forth. I think he did a wonderful job about providing the evidence associated with that. As you can see on the screen there, the individual was indicating that, hey, a higher populace of the black women are not actually investing compared to other races, and black men seem to be on the third area, moving from up to down, and he indicated, okay, there's only about 5,000 people or more that were used, but if you looked at the study, if you actually increase the amount of people that are actually involved in the study, those numbers will still be close to what they are today. And I do agree with that information, though, because a lot of people, in many areas that I've spoken to, when you speak to them about investment, buying properties, and other things that they wish to divest into, many people don't actually have a plan. They just like, okay, I just come to work, get a job, pay my bills, and go home and relax. I think that's something that we need to stop, a lot, especially in the black community. And then the third part is that he spoke on the no market value, which is basically that, black men don't have enough money to make women submissive. Now, this is the part that I would say he's incorrect in this section, because no amount of money is going to make a woman submissive. No amount of money is going to make a woman submissive. I think the one thing, in as much as I don't want to say it, is that a woman has to be afraid of you to some degree in order to be fully submissive. A woman has to be to some degree feeling like, okay, she depends on you for a living in order to be fully submissive. When you have too many options for a woman to basically stay and be independent and still survive, do you think she's going to depend on you? No. Many women are very selfish and very self-centered, if not because they have to depend on men back in the past, because life was very cruel back then, and you can go to certain places in Africa where you need a man's heavy lifting in order to make a living. Many of these women have no other option but to have respect for their men, because by not doing so and the man leaves them, they can't really fend for themselves other than to go to their fathers, or if a situation is that their family is very broke or very poor, then it's going to be very hard for them to make a living. And that's why many of the time they're finding themselves in a more subservient role. Here in America, the women have the option to do so many things, including file for child support and so on and so forth, in ways to get money from you or to put their hands into their own pocket. How do you expect any woman to sit down there and be submissive to you when she can easily replace you and have government assistance from left to right? It's not going to happen. In order for you to change all of this and call submission, you have to change the culture. That means women see the value in men. Women see the value that men bring to the family. Women see the value that having a man around can bring in a long-term setting, and that is the only way for us to change this idea of women respecting and submitting to men. Okay, it's not about money. All right, it's not about money. It's about having an understanding of why that person exists, why that person exists in that space, why, what kind of value besides monetary value that this person brings. Before there was money, there were other things like trade and barter. These things were not that important. What it was the ability to support a family. That means feeding a family, putting shelter over the head of a roof, and having an instinct for traversing the wilderness when you have to move from one place to the other with your family in order to move them to certain places, and you want to make sure that they're safe. You want to be able to give them some kind of protection when there's animals or bandits or so on and so forth. These were the reasons why men were around back in those days. Not about monetary values or items you can purchase. All of these things were useless, right? Men provided a lot of these things, to which modern technology, modern day of living have basically eradicated, because men worked hard to install these things into the society to make sure that they are eradicated. You no longer could get them only from men. Now it's a service that you can actually, get in many other forms, right? So, in the three things that Oshay said, I think a lot of black men need to pay heed to those things, which is having respect for each other, learning to live in unity, and trying to build things together. And the last part is having market value in order for you to have some kind of a power when it comes to elections and so on and so forth. Black people need that. But in terms of earning women's respect, I think it's a core cultural issue that needs to be changed here. Because I bet you can go to any of your restaurants or any other places that you go to, right? It doesn't matter who you are. Many of the times you're dealing with a lot of black women who are on the line and they're very disrespectful. You're dealing with a lot of black women in certain service area that are very, very disrespectful, no matter how nice you are. Even when you say hello, they ignore you, they snub you. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to, you see them on the street, maybe you're interested in them sexually, and they are very disrespectful, and they call you names and so on and so forth, right? So we cannot sit down here and simply say, hey, you have to build yourself, you have to do this, you have to do that in order for you to change women's perspectives. No, it comes from the family. They haven't been shown to respect men. They don't even know how to live with men. They don't even know how to deal with men. Even amongst themselves, have you seen a lot of black women, when they're dealing with themselves, very disrespectful to each other? So this idea of him thinking that by men working hard in order to achieve this and that is going to lead to women respecting them is a big lie. Because no matter what a man achieves, a woman will never respect them if those kind of things are not imbued within them. Anyway, I'm your host. 5 minutes or less review, and I just brought to you what Oshay was saying about the three values that men need to bring in order to gain respect in the black community. If you guys want to see the full clip of what Oshay was saying, please go ahead. The link is in the description below. Please do not fail to go down there and give the brother some support. He has a lot of content that I believe that is very fundamental to basically growth. Just take